Alrighty, good morning. Going out on a little earlier walk today so I can, don't interrupt my work day after that. It's quite a bit cooler today. There was a big wind came in last night, and now this morning it's just above freezing, +1 I think. So I'm starting with my hat and gloves. We'll see if I keep them or not. I like the morning light. I'm going to follow a fairly standard pattern here to start with. Go down and get on the dike. But I might follow a different pattern once I get across Elphinstone. But to begin with, we'll walk along the dike down to Elphinstone. It's garbage day. Wonder why those bins have suddenly appeared outside. So the Kickstarter is moving along very nicely. Very excited. Just as of this morning, 348 Canadian dollars to go. And it will be 100% funded. So this is a good time to kick in. You can be assured that the project is going ahead, and whatever backers awards you choose at the level you choose to participate, you will get. All the people who have followed it but haven't kicked in will get an email with 48 hours left, and many of them will convert. So I have absolutely no doubt that it's going to fund now. So it's a great time to kick in if you haven't. That's the anthology that will feature authors who were guests during the second year of my Aurora award-winning podcast, The World Shapers, where I talk to science fiction and fantasy authors about the creative process. Big names in it: Kelly Armstrong, Marie Brennan, Garth Nix, S.M. Sterling, Nancy Kress, Barb Hambly, Carrie Vaughn. This goes on and on. 24 authors in all. 18 are providing original stories and 6 are providing reprints. And yeah, it's going to happen now, for sure. But just to be for sure, didn't know that was a tongue twister. For sure, why don't you get over there and kick in on Kickstarter and push us over the top today. My horizon's a little off again. I wonder if I can, maybe it's just adjust the way I hold my hand, I guess is easier than fiddling with the phone itself. Maybe I'm just off kilter. I don't know. And then I hope to get in a really good work day on the Tangled Stars. I do have a chapter of the author who I am mentoring right now through the Saskatchewan Writers Guild Mentorship Program. Sent me her latest chapter, so I'll be looking at that, a middle grade fantasy novel. I'll do that first, and then after that I should be able to focus on the Tangled Stars. Going back to the Kickstarter, Shapers of Worlds Volume 2, tinyurl.com/Shapers of Worlds 2. If you wanted to kick in $400 Canadian, you could push us over the top, and you could have your name used as a character in the Tangled Stars. I'm offering that Tuckerization, as it's called, after a long ago writer, Wilson Tucker, who used people he knew as characters in his stories. Probably won't be wearing my hat or possibly my gloves for long. That's the way I started. Here's the dike in the morning. If you're on Facebook Live, if you're on Facebook and see this live, leave a note. If you're on YouTube and see it live, same thing. I will see it. Might be able to respond if I can read it. Already starting to feel warmer as I walk. I don't think the hat's going to last very long. The toque, as we call it around here, which always makes you think of Peregrine Took, the Tooks from Lord of the Rings. I notice in videos sometimes there's kind of a jerky motion. I think it's because if I rest my arm against the side, I get more jerk. On the other hand, if I don't rest my arm against my side, this thing does start to get noticeably heavy. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I smell smoke. Somebody's got their fireplace going. No smellorama on the iPhone. Maybe that's the next generation. You can transmit smells as well as images. I think I will walk down this side of the dike instead of the other side this time. Hoping when I get back I will see that there's been movement on the Kickstarter. So what's happening in the Tangled Stars when I get back to writing that today? Well, we're just on the verge of stealing a starship from the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago, which will then kick me into the bigger space operation side of the story, as eventually they will be leaving the solar system in this starship to see what's been going on after they're called masts, multiverse adjacent space-time tunnels. You might think of them as wormholes. After that network collapsed and everybody was cut off, they're going to be the first ones to go through the newly reopened mast prime in Earth's solar system, and they expect to get to New Earth, which is where it used to lead. But there's a surprise waiting for them on the other end. There's the bowl I've mentioned before where the kids go tobogganing. I would like to say they won't be tobogganing anymore this year, but long-range forecast, last time I looked, was showing a major snowstorm next weekend, like many centimeters of snow. So I really hope that's a overestimation. They often are. You often see lots of snow in the future, and when you get there, you get less. But still some ice on the creek. And some wind left over from last night. Hopefully not interfering with the sound too much. My little ball of cotton over the microphone hole seems to work pretty well. No sign of anyone watching me live this morning, but if you're watching this later, thanks for coming along on the stroll. Hear the birds and the wind. There's always somebody with a dog. There's someone ahead of me now with a dog. Certainly seeing hints of green and grass, and some trees are starting to give the signs that they'll be budding out. So even if we get another big snowstorm, it is spring. Even in Saskatchewan. certainly tell by the light. Starting to get woken up by the sound of the geese in the lake. Huge flocks of geese honking away as the light comes up. They start before it's really light too, so that gets earlier and earlier, the birds. Pretty soon they'll be singing about 3:30 in the morning. Our dogs. Morning. Stretch park along here. Oh, there's someone. Oh, it's Miriam, who's with me earlier today, but on a previous walk. Yeah, lots of birds along here. Well, hearing a lot of crows this time of year. And woodpeckers are around. Not hearing one right now, but passed one on an earlier walk, quite close. I was just saying, the birds are really noisy first thing in the morning. You notice it, it's always dark. You know, for much of the year, it's dark when you wake up. Dark when you go to work, if you're going to work. And it starts to get lighter, and then all of a sudden it seems like, oh, it's so bright, so early in the morning, and the birds are so noisy, and it's still, 4 o'clock or something, 4:30. And they get kind of annoying, but you wouldn't really trade it for the middle of the winter when it's dark. View of the Elphinstone Bridge there. Very thin ice now.
Do I get to pull it out with a stick? Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. How was your walk? How ride?
Right, horizon's definitely a little off today. Yeah, it should change the way if I hold the. Oops. Sorry, playing with the gimbal there. It doesn't like it when I make movements, it gets confused. Okay, so we will go now. I think I'm going to go this way. Across this bridge. And I'll start on the path, but I'm going to take a different route when I get down to the next footbridge and stay on this side of the river. Thought about walking around the lake, but I think we can jaywalk here. Besides, I've never looked at the river from this bridge or even crossed on this side. Oh, much ice gone here. It starts again down there, but because the water flows under the bridge kind of down a little spillway, I think. You can see the geese over there. All right, taking off the hat. Not warm enough for that. Had a good Easter yesterday. We did our traditional waffles and sausage and bacon for Easter brunch. We had an Easter egg hunt. Alice is almost 20, but we had one anyway. The cat was quite excited. He couldn't figure out why. It was like the treat game that we play with them, but in reverse. We were putting treats out, and then Alice got the treat game. And he was so excited I had to give him treats too. He always perks up when he sees us doing things that remind him of hunting behavior, I think. So if we start moving around the house, looking in different places, I think he interprets that as hunting behavior, and that instinct kicks in and he starts looking for things too, checking out odd corners that he doesn't normally stick his nose into. Like the top of the microwave, we found him investigating a couple of days ago, which he never ever goes up onto. There he was. There's a neighborhood cat who's an outdoor cat. Shadowbaw's an indoor cat, 100%. But we have these side lights on our front door we can open with screens in them. I'm opening that for him. Cat TV, we call it. And the orange cat has been on our step, and they've exchanged words a couple of times. So you have to kind of watch that, because at least on one occasion he went charging down there and I think jumped at the other cat and hit the screen. Didn't hurt himself, but he did actually hit it hard enough to kind of dislodge it from its frame a little bit. So would rather he didn't do that. He seems like such a gentle cat. Apparently he didn't like the other guy. And the other cat, the orange cat, I call him because he's orange, belongs somewhere in the neighborhood, and so he's always outside our house patrolling. So the outside of our house he considers part of his territory, and of course Shadowbaw considers the house, at least the inside of it, his territory. And he's seen that cat many times through the window, and he'll go galloping from window to window to keep an eye on him. So getting a chance to come face to face and exchange swear words, I think he found quite exciting. He was actually looking at me to open those up this morning, but I didn't as I left. Geese flying over. So often I would take this footbridge, but today I'm going to walk on down the road instead of continuing to follow the footpath. I'll switch over to the sidewalk on the other side. Carry on down to Pasco Street. But there is the footbridge. Open water under it too, so the ice is now just kind of floating layers, I think. Yeah, just sort of chunks of it floating there. So this is new. I haven't walked down this side of the street on the sidewalk before. Pasco Street. I've been on Pasco, but I haven't walked to it from this direction on one of these walks. More people with dogs up ahead. It'd be nice to live here with the park just across the street. Not that we're far from a park. Since the lake is within 3 blocks of our house, the whole Wascana Center. can't entirely avoid showing people on camera, but I try to turn it so they're only on briefly. I don't know if anyone else is watching this live. Miriam, if you're still there. But if you are, please leave a note so I know you're there. If you're on Facebook as well as YouTube. Dogs and birds, that's what you hear. Let's walk. It's one of those long, straight sidewalks we really like in Saskatchewan. Well, I guess everywhere, but our roads are like this too, for the most part. My daughter had a friend from St. John's, Newfoundland here summer before last. She was quite almost freaked out by the road that was just straight and flat for so long. She'd never seen a road like that in Newfoundland, because we took her to Moose Jaw, and I think there's one curve between here and Moose Jaw over the railroad tracks. Otherwise it's just straight, pretty straight. Maybe there's a second curve, probably at a correction line somewhere, but it's almost straight the entire way. And Moose Jaw is about 45 minute drive from here. Oh, yeah, there are nice houses along here. And you have these nice mature trees as well. This is one of the, not a really old neighborhood, but old enough that the trees are all grown up. This is the way I'd take to the airport if I were headed there. You drive down here, turn left, turn right, and you're at the airport. It's actually within walking distance, but it's not a very walking friendly place, so I don't think I'll walk out there. It'd be a longer walk than usual if I did. But it is actually close enough. I could walk to the airport. Trouble is, you usually have luggage. You're going to the airport. Pulling your luggage would be no fun. Here's Pasqua. Now, there's a pathway over there that'll take Sunday on out towards the RCMP barracks and out that way, but not today. I'll probably need somebody to meet me at the other end, but that one would get really long. Not so long walking out there, but then you have to turn around and come back. This is Pasqua Street, which is kind of unusual because of all the grass between the sidewalk and the road with the trees in there. That's a little different from most streets where the sidewalk's much closer to the curb or right on the curb. Another nice long straight road. I'm going to zigzag a bit though once I get to the next road that takes me to the east. We're currently heading south. Yeah, I really like walking in the morning, first thing actually. Well, can't do it every time, but it's nice when I can. And it's done. And then I can concentrate on all those writing and publishing things I do. Also have a show coming up, Regina Lyric Musical Theater, called Flip the Script, which is gender-swapped Broadway songs. So my wife and I are doing a duet. I'm doing a quartet all by myself. You'll have to see that one. That's, if it works out, is going to be one of the funniest things I ever did. And my daughter's doing a song too. So you can get tickets at reginalyric.com. Doesn't matter where you live, you can watch Flip the Script, Regina Lyric Musical Theater. It's coming up in May. We were supposed to go somewhere to shoot it, but now they've decided with our current restrictions, because of cases have been a bit higher again, they're going to have us shoot it at home. In my case, in front of a green screen, which will be dropped off for me to use. So Should be interesting. This gimbal that I'm using for this, the Osmo 3, the version I got has a tripod attachment, so you can stand it up, and it even has like a follow feature. Haven't played with that much. It's on the app that I don't use for this, but there's a special app that came with the gimbal that has all kinds of bells and whistles. You can I think select a face in a group, and the camera will follow that person, that sort of thing. There's even hand gestures you can use. Here it's 20:16 p.m. Indian time. So that's where you're tuning in from. Yeah, well, that's pretty much then we must be, if I'm right. Oh, well, here it's 8:48 a.m. So somehow there's a half-hour difference in there, in addition to it's 11 and a half hours different, it sounds like. This is Sheldon Williams Collegiate coming up here on the right, which I've walked by before. I'll now do so again. This is where my daughter would have gone if she'd gone into the public high school, but she went to Luther College High School, which is a private school. Both my wife and I went to private school, and Luther is an academic school. Good academics, and lots of people come out of there. They're very well prepared for university. In fact, we've heard of people, I don't know how Alice feels about it, but before she went into university, we kept hearing from graduates of Luther that the Luther workload was tougher than the university workload. She survived, and now she's in the University of Toronto kinesiology program, although of course she's been at home this entire year. This is not Sheldon Williams. Sheldon Williams is over there on our left. Actually, I guess because I'm zigzagging, we won't walk in front of it this time, but it'll be to our left as we keep on going here. Unless I zig again. I want to zig again. Or zag. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, that's Sheldon Williams over there. Bigger school. That's the front of it. But we're going to go this way. Good morning, Canada. Let's see, is it still morning everywhere in Canada? I think so. Well, no. The East Coast, I think it's past noon now. Yeah, it would be. But most of Canada, it's still morning. We're 2 hours, this time of year, we're 2 hours behind the East. But then the East is another hour out to the Maritimes, and then another half hour out to Newfoundland. So Newfoundland is 3.5 hours, I guess, ahead of us right now, which means it's, afternoon there already. And then we're 1 hour different from the West Coast right now. And I say right now because Saskatchewan is one of the few places that doesn't change to daylight savings time. We're Central Standard Time all year round, which means part of the year it's 2 hours different to the West Coast, part of the year it's 2 hours different to the East Coast. And right now, it's to the East Coast. And not just the coast, but Toronto and all that. So here we are on Regina Avenue again. I don't really want to just follow Regina Avenue back because it's straight. So I'll probably zig back again. At the next block. Regina Avenue is the one that runs straight to the airport. If you're going out that way, Regina International Airport is not too far away. It's not a huge airport, but it is an international airport. You can I don't know what it is right now, but you can certainly fly to other countries from Regina International Airport. Just apartment buildings along here, not very inspired in their design. Probably built in the 60s or even the 50s, I would think. Really just boxes. Walking into the sun now, it's harder to see the screen. If anybody leaves a note from Facebook or YouTube, if I miss it, that would be why. Yeah, but we'll zig again back towards Sheldon Williams here at this intersection. Quite warm now from walking, and it's probably up another degree or two. It's probably +3 or so by now, Celsius. We will zig this way, or possibly zag. Don't really know now. Oh, okay, well, we'll have to go through the alley, which will be different, because I don't want to curve all the way back that way. There's Sheldon Williams coming up again. In the distance, you can see a high school, but it's not one where I went. Been in it many times. My daughter's band program was there, the Swamp, the Sheldon Williams area music program. Here's an alley, a paved alley. They aren't all paved. It's probably school buses might very well come along here. It's one reason they sometimes, the one behind our house is paved because school buses use it to get to the school that's behind our house. And the blue, of course, are the recycle bins, and the brown are the garbage. In our neighborhood, Monday morning is garbage day. They only do it every 2 weeks during the winter because it's so cold, and frozen garbage isn't a problem. But as it warms up, you obviously don't want well-heated garbage sitting out for 2 weeks. Recycling is every 2 weeks all year round. You pick that up. Playground over here, or playing ground. I guess at a high school you don't usually call it a playground. Could walk through it. Kind of boring though. Brown grass. I won't zig down the alley again. Alleys can be interesting, but these aren't terribly much. You can see down the alley that way, alongside, that one's not paved. All the little garages. You can tell it's an old neighborhood because the garages are so tiny for a previous generation of cars. By modern standards, they seem very small. It's smoking up there. Oh, it's coming off the building. Up there, the smoke or the steam is the back of a strip mall. We watched Chef's Table on Netflix last night, which we often do. Currently, their latest offering is about barbecue. So talking about smoke. And I like it because I used to live in the South. Not this particular one was in South Carolina. Been there, but briefly on a chorus trip we drove through it. But I went to school in Arkansas, and we moved up here from Texas, so I kind of appreciate that kind of a sound in people's voices. It reminds me of my relatives and my friends, people I knew going to school before we moved up here from Texas, when we go down there to visit relatives. I do feel an affinity with that part of the world, even though I haven't really lived there since I was, well, even then, Texas is not really considered part of the Deep South. North Carolina isn't Deep South either, I don't believe. Anyway, I did go to university in Arkansas, which even then is not, it's the South, but it's still not the deep South like Mississippi and Louisiana, Alabama. It's the ones I think of as the deep South. There's no sidewalk on either side here, but we will zig down here all the same. Oh, this just takes us into an alley. Oh, interesting. Oh, I see where we are. All right, we'll follow the alley. That's why there's no sidewalk, though. Let's see. We go down the alley that way. She'll go down the alley that way. And we'll go this way. And we can zig back up the road down here. This one's not paved, but it's not muddy today either. A little bit, but not stick to your feet mud. Oh, I see a note that I think I missed. When we're going to have snow, the long-range forecast says this coming weekend there could be snow. Again. There's a video of me walking in a snowstorm from last Monday, just a week ago. 100-kilometer-hour gusts and howling wind, and well, that kind of goes with the 100-kilometer-hour gusts. Snow. It's all melted now, but the forecast says we may get more on the weekend. Several centimeters is what I saw. I hope that's wrong. We'll go this way. I haven't walked down here. This has not been a direct route by any means. Go down here and cross at the intersection, and then go down by Waterfall Park again, and then take the pathway home along my usual route. Oof. Watch out for those dips in the driveway. Apartment building up here, or condo building, I guess. And over there is the park alongside the creek. Baseball diamonds on this side, quite a few of them. Should walk out by Douglas Park sometime. Park at the Science Center maybe and walk out there. Could climb up the hill, the landfill hill there, but it's a substantial hill that gives you a nice view over the city. And Douglas Park has quite an impressive football field used for minor football. It's a fairly new condo building in the last few years. This is Elphinstone walking by. Oh, condo for sale if you're in the market. I would guess condo in there would cost $300,000 maybe more. Not a lot more though. Then here's a strip mall over here that we saw the back of with the steam coming out of. And it's got this and that, dry cleaner, convenience store, drugstore, and a restaurant. Tommy's there in the corner. Has a pretty nice lounge that I've sat and written in sometimes. Not recently. Everybody's closed for in-person dining again right now. Parking lots, not the most exciting thing to walk through for a live stream. Okay, we will cross here. Oof! It is easy not to realize you're about to step into a hole while you're doing this. When I go oof, that's usually what happens. You could cross now. There's nobody coming, but I'll wait. Okay. See, Waterfall Garden it says there on the sign. There. Still no waterfall. A little too early yet for that, because it's not a natural waterfall. It's really a fountain, I guess, but it looks like a waterfall. I don't know where the water must be coming out of the creek somehow, because they wouldn't be putting drinking water over a fountain. But, it's crows. Oh, this side of it has been closed off, and there's still no point in going down there, but I think somebody has just knocked down the barrier, actually. So it's kind of a nice little, almost like being in a forest, in this little patch of pine trees. And the big pool that was down here is gone now, I see. You see the little creek and the little footbridge over it. I'll cross over sometime, but not today. Going down carefully, so I'm not really looking at my feet, so I don't want to tumble. And then this will be a waterfall, but it's quite shaded, so it has not really thawed at all. It looks like it's still pretty much solid ice. You have the little footbridge and this little creek that runs over there and then disappears into a culvert, it looks like. It's nice down in here. Lots of weddings get their photos taken down here, and kids come here and picnics and stuff. Nice little park. Now we'll get onto the path back to the footbridge. Somebody else with a dog. Still plenty of ice on this part of the creek. See the footbridge there? Yeah, I think I'll definitely take the footbridge there. Decide what I'm going to do on the other side. Anxious to get back and see how the Kickstarter's doing, if it picked up anything while I was out walking. Unzipping my coat now. I'm getting warm enough. Still wearing my gloves because they're awkward to take off. Also, hands get colder than bodies. All right, cross the footbridge. Thin ice, I would think so. Every day more danger with thinner ice. frozen though. Let's see. I guess I just came up Italic steps this time, didn't I? I don't really remember. I'm going this way back anyway, instead of walking along the dike. Well, this is the bike ramp, but there are steps. Got sweat running down my face. It's warm enough now from walking. It's always hard to know how to dress setting out on these walks. It seems cold when you start. Seems plenty warm by the time you've exercised. So I've had comments from Miriam on YouTube. If there's anybody on Facebook, you still have a chance to say hi before I reach home. It is Monday morning. People with jobs, real jobs, not freelance writers like me, are probably at work. Or even if they're working at home, they should be working and not watching guys on YouTube walking around. Mostly I've seen people with dogs on this walk. Seems like every second person has a dog. Sometime this week I'll go around the lake again. Probably once a week or so I'll do that as the seasons change. I suppose since I call this thing a vlog, I should have like a prepared something I'm going to talk about every day, but I'm not that organized. I just talk about whatever comes to mind or in response to comments. What we watched on TV last night, also watching The Muppet Show, binging that. It's interesting to see all those old performers that were, current performers when I was a teenager. Many of the ones you see on there now are dead, and others who you now know as old people are still in their prime as a performer. Valerie Harper is dead now, but she was on the one we watched last night. She was still doing the TV show Rhoda, which is a huge hit. Spin-off of the Mary Tyler Moore Show. We're also binging MASH. Hard to believe that series started half a century ago now, almost. Holds up pretty good though. It holds up really good actually, because of course it's already set in the past when they filmed it, set in the 50s in Korea, so it doesn't feel too dated and still very well acted and written. It's a reason it ran for 11 years. Way longer than the war did, that it supposedly takes place during. Okay, a couple more blocks. There's my favorite Bavarian style house with the turret. How long has this one been? Where are we here? 50 minutes and a bit. Be a little under an hour. That seems to be about right for me. I can do longer, but of course that takes more time out of my day. And unlike Walking Commuter on YouTube, who walked around Manhattan, and people give him money to do so, because he has thousands of subscribers and thousands of people watch his walks. And when you have enough subscribers, this can be monetized and people can watch and send you money as you walk, super chats, things like that. I don't think I'll ever get there. I don't think my walks around Regina are going to draw thousands of viewers. And he has a job. That's why he's a walking commuter. He does commute to some sort of work. But he makes, I would say, probably hundreds of dollars a day just walking. I don't know how many hundreds, maybe not a lot of hundreds, but a couple of hundred at least. If I were getting paid to do this, I'd walk a lot more, obviously. For now, I'm just doing it for exercise. And live streaming is motivation, because I enjoy doing this, live streaming and talking as I walk. And it makes me look forward to going out every day. Videos are starting to pile up on YouTube, doing it every day. I picked up some more subscribers on my channel since I started doing it. Still only, I think, 55 subscribers. Okay, here comes the stop sign. Our traditional stopping spot. So, I don't know if you're still there, Miriam. If you are, thanks for walking with me. Anybody else that watched this live, and if you're watching it recorded, well, thanks for doing that. And I'll be back tomorrow.